What is up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today we're going to be breaking down my nearly $200,000 investment portfolio. Now, I've talked about stocks, I've talked about crypto in the past, but I've never talked about my entire investment portfolio as a whole. And so in this video, we're going to be really peeling back the curtain, and I'm going to be breaking down exactly where I've put my money over the years, where I plan to put my money in the future, and what investments of mine have had the highest ROI. So let's get started. Now, before we begin, I would like to preface and give a bit of a disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor. If you guys are going to be putting your money into any of the things that I talk about in this video, please make sure to do so at your own risk. I am certainly not recommending any of these methods of investments. I am simply just talking about my experience and what I've found to be successful for myself and my portfolio. So with that, let's dig into it. So my entire investment portfolio kind of fluctuates on a day-by-day and week-by-week basis because of fluctuations in the stock market and the car value market and the crypto market and more. And I'm sure like many of you, you've seen a lot of fluctuations over the last year. And that has certainly been the case with my portfolio. Now, I've talked about this a lot on the channel, and I think it's worth reiterating once again for the sake of this video, but I consider myself to be an opportunistic investor. I like to put my money where it makes sense at the moment, and sometimes that's the stock market, sometimes that's crypto, sometimes that's into cars, and sometimes that's in other forms of investments as well, like my business, for example. I don't really have a super long-term investment strategy. I don't look 10, 20, 30 years in the future and try to figure out what investments I should pursue at that time. Instead, I look in the present day and maybe 1 or 2 years out, and I try to figure out where I can put my money right now to make it work for me. And so with that, let's dig into the first category of investments that I want to talk about, and it's one that probably shouldn't come too much of a surprise, and that is cars and owning vehicles. Now, overall, I currently own 13 cars. Between my Turo fleets, my single car that I have listed on the GetAround platform, as well as the Ford Transit cargo van that I am building out in my backyard to rent out on a peer-to-peer RV sharing platform. Between all of these vehicles together, they are valued at about $70,000. Now, my camper van has a current value of about 25, though I don't know if that is entirely accurate because of the fact that it is partially built out, and building out the camper van does add value to it. For example, it isn't unheard of. In fact, it isn't even entirely rare to take a $25,000 to $30,000 Ford Transit van, convert it into a nice livable camper van, and then go back and sell that exact same van for about $75,000. And so the value of our camper van will increase exponentially once the build is done, but because of the fact that it's only partially done right now, I am just valuing it at the KBB value of about $25,000. In addition to my Ford Transit camper van, I have other cars as well that are listed on the Turo platform, including a variety of different Ford products, a variety of different Toyota products, a variety of different Hyundai and Mazda products, and more. Most of my cars are fairly low value in the like $3,000 to $5,000 range, and so in total they are valued at about $70,000. Now, in general, I understand that cars and automobiles are considered to be a depreciating asset, and so the fact that I am putting this in my investment portfolio may be a controversial decision for some of you guys watching this video. But the fact is, the way that I use my cars is definitely an appreciating asset. In fact, my vehicles at this point have paid themselves off 3 to 4 to 5, sometimes even more times over at this point. Now, over the last year, there has been a lot of changes to this fleet of vehicles. During the pandemic, I stopped buying cars altogether. I then started buying them again at the end of 2020. During that time, a lot of cars were sold, a lot of cars were totaled, and during that same period of time was the time period in which I bought the van as well. So there was quite a lot of adjustments and changes to the fleet that I made between the beginning of 2020 and currently today in 2021. But more recently, I have started buying vehicles again for the Turo fleet, and the goal is to get that fleet up to 20 cars by the end of the year or by the beginning of 2022. If you guys are interested in the process of following along as we get to 20 cars, I do have a second vlog channel that I started with my fiance. It is called Aubrey NHP. I will link it down in the description below, and you can follow that, and it will take you along the process with us as we grow our fleet and our other income streams as well. Other than buying a fleet of vehicles, I've also invested into cryptocurrency, and that brings us to the second tier of investments that I currently have in my investment portfolio. As of right now, I have about $12,000 invested in cryptocurrency. The vast majority of that is in Ethereum. But the three cryptos that I own are Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, the majority of which is in Ethereum, at least in present day. Now, whenever it comes to cryptocurrency, I am certainly not an expert in the crypto space, but I do believe in the technology long term. And the reason why I went with Ethereum versus Bitcoin, for example, for the majority of my money is because I believe that Ethereum has a higher long-term upside. The vast majority of crypto that I own was purchased recently with this crypto crash that happened a few months ago, or about a month ago now. So most of the Ethereum I own was purchased in that $2,500 price range, though I did buy some whenever it was in $3,000, and I did buy some Bitcoin whenever it was at $35,000, which are now, of course, close to the red or hovering in the red. Now, my future plans with crypto are probably I'm not going to sell, but I'm also not going to buy more. I'm just going to hold this $12,000 that I currently have in it and see what happens. I don't consider myself to be somebody that is super well versed in the world of crypto. I've of course done my due diligence. I know about the different coins. I know about the benefits of Ethereum, but I'm certainly not an expert. And because of that, I don't feel super comfortable putting any more money into these assets because of the fact that I just simply don't know enough about them. And lastly is the stock market, which is the third place that I currently have my money. And as of right now, I have a stock portfolio valued at about $100,000. And whenever it comes to my investment portfolio, I really leaned into recovery stocks during the pandemic. So I invested in like travel related stocks, retail related stocks, as well as gas related stocks. As of right now, I am actually starting to exit a lot of these recovery stocks as I feel like they have made their recovery and it's time to get out before reality sets in, or before there's any sort of market correction, which I do think could be coming in the next couple of months. So I am playing my stock investment portfolio really conservatively, and I'm wanting to get out while I am ahead. So I'm slowly doing that process and selling some of my stock investments, and instead going into more long-term investments that I can just set it and forget it and not worry about it. So my investment portfolio is definitely going to pivot from like an active investment portfolio, which is what it's been for the last year, to a more set it and forget it passive style investment portfolio. I am not super interested in researching a ton of stocks and looking at what has the best like 30-day gain. I'm not interested to day trade. I just want to find solid stocks that I can put my money into and see a decent return on year over year. But ultimately, that is my entire investment breakdown. I have my investments in really three places: crypto, vehicles, and investments in the stock market. And I will most likely be keeping them there for the foreseeable future. I would like to go into real estate at some point, but I would like for the housing market to die down a bit. And at that point, I could see myself taking the money that I made in the stock market and putting it into some sort of real estate property, and then really expanding my real estate portfolio from there. But of course, it all has to do with what's going on with the current economy. And as you guys know, homes are insanely priced right now. The demand is crazy. People are getting in bidding wars, and that is simply not something I'm interested in doing. But like always, you guys, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. I would love to hear if you guys have any other types of investments that you guys use, that you guys pursue. If there's like some sort of non-traditional investment, I would absolutely love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. If you guys are interested in learning how I run, manage, and make money from renting out cars, I do have a car sharing masterclass, which you can find the link down in the description below. If you use the code INVESTMENT, you can get $25 off. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.